And this is not the first crime the Israeli occupation forces target the Palestinian journalist. And actually, Shireen was doing nothing but covering the Israeli raid of Jenin camp and Jenin city. And as I have told you, that Israel has a long history and a long record of targeting the Palestinian journalists over decades. The Israeli occupation deliberately targeted the Palestinian journalists, and the only reason behind that is that Israel is always afraid of telling the truth, afraid of covering what is going on the ground, the reality of the Israeli crimes committed against the Palestinian people. Israel wants to kill the Palestinian people and to commit its crimes in silence in order to propagate and to promote its falsified narrative. And let us be clear that Israel, by this flagrant crime, actually adds a new crime to its long record of crimes against the Palestinian journalists. Killing the Palestinian journalists in cold blood actually is a flagrant crime that should recall all international bodies and the human rights organization to have a decisive stance towards those ongoing Israeli occupation crimes. And it could be, and it's not a coincidence that nowadays the Palestinian people in Gaza actually mark the first anniversary of Al-Quds Sword, the battle during which the Israeli occupation bounded the Al-Jalaa Tower, which contained media and journalist offices, which means that Israel has a continuous and an ongoing strategy of deliberately targeting the Palestinian journalists in order to cover the truth, in order to prevent the Palestinian journalists from covering and reporting the truth on the ground. Today, Israel, by these crimes, actually wanted to terrorize the Palestinian journalists, not to cover the truth, not to cover the reality on the ground, in order to promote the falsified and the wrong narrative the Israeli occupation wants.